Hello everyone, and welcome to yet another tutorial on the series of tutorials on design and analysis of algorithms. So in this tutorial, we will look how to calculate the time and space complexity of iterative programs. So if you look any algorithm in general, what actually increases the complexity of an algorithms are loops, right? So there are two kind of ways in which generally looping is performed in any algorithm or program. The very first being the iterative way. And what is iterative way is basically to create loops like for loops, while loops, do while loops and others. And the other way is the recursive way. So in the recursive way, we try to call the function over and over again with some stopping condition to give us a pseudo kind of loops. Okay, so the first analysis will be about iterative programs and in general how to calculate the complexity of iterative programs. So let us look at the first question. In the first question, we have a main program in which there is a variable x which is assigned a value of y plus z. So as you know, this is an addition operation and it will take some constant time to complete, and then there will be an assignment which is another constant time. So this entire operation in general is a constant time operation. Let's say this takes some k times, right? So this entire thing is running for some k times or of order of k. But as you know that constants in asymptotic notations have no meaning, so we can write this as order of 1. So any constant time operation in general is represented as order of 1. Let us look at the second question. In the second question, there is a loop which is running from 0 to n minus 1, which is total of n times, right? And inside the loop, we are performing a constant time operation, which is order of 1, right? So basically this order of 1 operation is carried out n number of times. So the overall time complexity of the algorithm is big O of n, right? So let us now analyze the third problem. In the third problem, first we have a loop which goes from 0 to n minus 1, doing a constant time operation inside it, right? So this entire thing becomes order of n as in the second question. Then this loop ends here and then another loop starts which also runs for 0 to n minus 1, that is n times, and inside the body we are performing a constant time operation. So the time complexity is order of n, right? So the overall time complexity is order of n plus order of n, which is equals to order of n, right? So let us look at the fourth question. In the fourth question, there is a variable I and it is starting from 1, and we are running this loop while the value of I is less than n, and each time we are adding 50 to the current value of I, right? That is I is 51, then it becomes 51, then it becomes 101, or in general it becomes 1 plus some k times your 50, right? So if you put k equals to 1, you will get 51. If you put k equals to 2, you will get 101, and so on. And we will break this condition when 1 plus 50k becomes equals to n or greater than n, right? That is 50k becomes greater than n minus 1. So this n minus 1 asymptotically we can write as n only, and k can be written as n by 50. So the time complexity is big O of n by 50, which 50 has no meaning, so this is again big O of n, right? So let's see what happens if it was 0. So what we are doing here, I is a variable which is starting from 0, and then we are running a loop until the value of I is less than equals to n, and each time we are adding 2, then 4, then 6. So overall what we are adding? 2 plus 4 plus 6, that is 12. So basically the equation becomes 0, then 0 plus 12, 12, then 12 plus 12, 24, and so on until this is less than equals to n. Or you can say that this loop will run until your 0 plus 12 times of k becomes greater than equals to n. This is a breaking condition, right? So as and when k becomes greater than equals to n by 12, this loop will run, or you can write it as big O of n by 12, which is equals to big O of n. This is the maximum for which the loop will run, right? This is the stopping condition. Now let us analyze another problem. In this one we are starting from n, and each time we are decreasing the value by 10, that is n minus 10, n minus 20, and so on until the value becomes 0, right? So basically you can see this is a AP. You can write A plus n minus 1 into D. So let's say A plus k into minus 10, which is equals to 0, or k is equals to n by 10. So again your time complexity is order of n by 10, which is big O of n. So I want you to know two things. Number one, whether you are adding something, adding from 0 to n, or you are subtracting from n to 0. Your time complexity isn't changing, that is, it is remaining big O of n only. Secondly, while solving this question, I am not much concerned whether the loop is running for n times, n minus 1 times, n minus 2 times. That is, you don't need to be very exact while calculating these things. You can be a bit less careful. Like for example, if your loop is running from 1 to n, or your loop is running from 0 to n, you don't need to be very specific that this will run n plus 1 times, this will run n times, because ultimately n plus 1 and n won't change the time complexity of your algorithm. So keep these things in mind. This will help you solve problems faster. Now let us look another type of problems. Basically there is a main loop which is running from I equals to 1 until I is less than equals to n, and each time it is multiplying I by 2. That is, first I is 1, then it will become 2, then it will become 4, to the 8, 16, and so on. And in general what it is 1, 2, 2 power 2, 2 power 3, and so on, right? Or basically 2 power k. Another way of seeing is that this is a GP, and you can write any term of a GP as a r to the power n, that is 2 to the power k minus 1 upon 2 minus 1, and a is what? A is 1, right? So you can write it 2 power k minus 1, and not being very specific, you can write it as 2 power k, and this loop will run until this becomes greater than n, right? So your k comes out to be, taking log both sides, it comes out to be log 2 n. So the time complexity is big O of log n, right? Now let us look at this question. In this question, I is from 1. Each time we are multiplying I with 2, then 3, then 4, and the stopping condition is when I becomes greater than n. So if you see this thing, 3 basically steps, so you are multiplying I by 6 4 ja 24, right? So I becomes 1, then it becomes 24, then it becomes 24 raised to the power 2, and so on, right? Or in general it becomes 24 to the power k, and this has to be equals to n. This implies that k becomes log base 24 of n, that is big O of log 24n, right? Similarly, if you see this question, the third question, I starting from n, each time the value of I is reduced by 2, right? And it will run until your value becomes somewhere equals to 1, right? So this becomes n by 2 power k equals to 1, or n equals to 2 power k, or your k becomes log base 2 of n. So let's analyze it in a general case. If you are starting from 1 and you are multiplying with some, say, number k, so the time complexity is log base k of n, right? Similarly, if you are starting from n, you are dividing with some constant k, then your time complexity is log base k of n. You don't need to basically remember these formulas. As you can see, these all are simple analysis which can be done by just seeing how the input is changing every time you are running your loop, right? Let's see another question. In this question, I starting from m, and first we are dividing by 2, then we are dividing by 3. So in general, we are dividing by 6. Let's use our formula that we have used. So we can write log base 6 of n, right? Now let us see another set of problems. So let's analyze this problem, right? So in this problem, what we are doing is the I starting from 2. Each time we are squaring I, and this loop will run until this things becomes greater than n. So next time it will become 2 into 2. Next time it will become 2 raised to the power 2 into 2 raised to the power 2. That is what square is, right? And so on. So if you analyze it, what is happening? This is 2, this is 4, this is 16, and so on. So if you basically see the pattern, it is 2 power k. So which is equals to n, implies that take log 2 power k equals to log base 2 of n. Again take log, so you will get log base 2 of n, or big O of log n, both base 2, right? Now let us analyze the second problem. I starting from 2, each time you are doing it to the power 25, that is after 2 it becomes 2 power 25, then it will become 2 power 25 into 2 power 25, and so on. So in general it will become 2 power 25 power k, which will be equals to n. Taking log, you will get 25 power k equals to log base 2 of n, and finally k will be log of 25 log 2n, right? So as a general rule, if you are starting from I equals to m, and inside the loop you are raising it to a power k, so your answer is basically log first k, then log m of n, right? Again, you don't need to remember these formulas. You can analyze the problem and you can get the answer. In case you are confused sometimes, you can use the value putting methods as well. For example, you can take some n equals to 2 and try to eliminate the options which are not matching, and so on. Let's see some more examples. Okay, so let's see this particular problem. Here, this problem, I starting from 23, each time we are raising it to the power 21. So it will be 23 to the power 21, 23 to the power 21 raised to the power 2, and so on. So basically it's 23 to the power 21 to the power k, and this will be equals to n, implies that taking log 21 to the power k equals to log base 23 of n, and k equals to log base 21 log 23 of n, right? Now let us see this problem. So till now we saw a lot of different types of problems. So in this problem I have tried to mix one or two different kinds. So if you analyze the first one, for I equals to 1, I is less than n, I equals to I plus 10. So we saw in the first model, adding something to I won't change the complexity of I. So this is order of n, right? Let's analyze the second one. For j equals to n, j is greater than 3, j equals to j power 1 by 4, right? So if you see this, it is basically n, then it is getting n to the power 1 by 4, right? And then it is again becoming n to the power 1 by 4 raised to the power k, and so on, right? So this will break when this thing will become equals to 3, right? So let's take log both sides. So we get log base 3 of n, right, equals to, and we get 1 by 4 of k there here. Now 4 power k can be written as log base 3 of n, or k can be written as log 4 log 3n. So this one is running for this much time, right? Now analyze the last one. So first you have k equals to 1, then each time you are multiplying by 5, so it is 5, then 25, and so on, right? So this is a GP. You can write it as 5 power k. This has to be equals to n cube, and you can take log, so you will get log 5 of n cube, which is equals to 3 log 5 of n. So the overall complexity becomes n into your log 4 log 3n into log 5n, right? So this is your answer. So a lot of other types of problems can also be formed on this type of questions, but then the general way of solving remains same. You have to analyze how the loop is working, and then you have to come up with a closed form solution so that you can get the bounds on the time complexity. Now for space complexity, analysis is quite simple. It is not very difficult. You just have to see how much extra space other than your input your algorithm is requiring, right? So if you see the first question, this is one variable, this is another variable. Then if you see, we are not using any other space, right? So we are using space for two variables. That means space complexity is of order of 1, that is constant. Let's see the second one. Int I equals to 0. We have built a one-dimensional array of size n, and we have a variable of size 1, right? And no more space. So the space complexity is order of n. Similarly, if you analyze this one, third question, we have used array of size n square and no more space, just extra order of 1 space. So the space complexity is order of n square. Similarly, you can just see the algorithm and can track how much extra space you are using, and that will be your answer for space complexity. So this is how you analyze space and time complexity of iterative algorithms. We will end this video here, and in the next video we will start with the analysis of the recursive programs. Basically, what are recursive programs, what are recursive equations, how to solve them, and how to get a closed form solution for recursive programs. Thank you.